Okay guys, you know, our corn blew down. We anticipated that. It's just that it's sad that it was right when it was tossling, had ears on it. You know, it is what it is. We don't try to stake corn. We don't try to weave anything around it. We don't try to put windbreaks up. I mean, it is what it is. Corn just does what it does. If, you know, the younger stuff in here will probably turn and come back up. This stuff like this here, you know, it's already got the corn stalks on it. Probably not going to pollinate if the tops is gone out of it. And the problem you run into is if you try to stand it up, you can put dirt back around it, but you let go of it, it goes right back. So we're just going to leave it. We're going to let it do what it does. A lot of it, the roots caved up out of the ground like this one here. When they do that, you can't really do anything with them. You just have to leave them. You know, now this was really the worst thing that we had on our whole homestead happen, was the loss of the corn. And the sad part about it is we really needed it this year for cornmeal and stuff like that. But we're not going to give up hope yet. We're going to see if the other stuff actually comes back, and if it makes, you know, I mean, we're at the beginning of hurricane season. This could go on a lot longer, so I'm not going to put forth a lot of effort with it. It's already damaged. We actually have time to replant if we want to, because this is field corn, and the Danny corn takes about 125 to 130 days to get to the dry stage. Guys, we're in from the field. It's a hot day out there, so we've come into the house. We've harvested some Danny corn. Now, I'm doing this just for video purposes only, really. We're going to eat this tonight, but the corn's a little bit beyond where it really should be. But I'm going to try to show you that just because corn goes a little beyond where it needs to be doesn't mean that it's not any good anymore. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be shucking it out here. We're going to show you the reason why it's gone a little further than what it needs to be for optimum eating, but we're also going to show you how you can still use it. The Danny corn is, as I mentioned, is a dent corn. When I created this probably 26 to 28 years ago, I literally bred up several different varieties of corn to create this corn and to turn it back into an open pollinated corn. Took some time, took several years. But the reason I've done it, as I've explained this in previous videos, was I had a herd of cattle, and at that time when I was feeding them corn, the store-bought corn was so hard on their teeth because it was like little beads of glass. I mean, it was just so hard. And corn today is exactly the same way. So what I did was I bred several varieties, open pollinated varieties, into this corn to make it soft so that the cows could eat it and it didn't hurt their teeth, it didn't wear their teeth out, it didn't do any damage to them. And it also turned out to make some of the best cornmeal, some of the best flour. There's videos out there that people's made about Danny corn. Eric from Life and Farmland did a video on this a year or two ago, and he did a taste test with 2 or 3 different kinds of corn. The Danny corn was one of them. He didn't tell his family which was which. He made cornbread with it, and he let them choose. And you need to watch that video and see what I'm talking about, how they picked out a certain corn and what their thoughts on it were. And it has pictures of him trying to harvest it. Now Eric's like me. Eric's 6'3" tall, and Eric was having to jump to reach the ears on it. People were actually stopping and asking him, "Where in the world, what kind of corn is that?" You know, because it'll grow 15 feet tall or taller. And other people have sent me videos and pictures of their corn growing up to 12 and 15 feet tall and having ears on it, you know, 18 inches long. So mine got blowed down by the tropical storm this year. As y'all seen the videos, you know that. But we were able to still, out of the ones that blew down, we were able to harvest a few of them. We found some that was a little overripe, and I told Wanda, I said, you know what, we're just going to pick them, we're going to take it to the house, and we're just going to work with it and see what we can make happen. And the rest of it we're just going to let dry in the field, but we did want to be able to sample some of it and be able to eat it and show you guys some of the processes that you can use this corn for. Now, I'm going to shuck it out right here right quick, this one, and we're going to take a look at it. Now, one thing about Danny corn is, Danny corn has a thick layer of shucks on it. As we look at this, you see the top part of it here, because it blew down during the tropical storm, it didn't really actually get to pollinate like it needed to. Now there's no worm signs or anything like that. It's already dimpled in. That dimpling in that you see on it right there is called the dent in it. When that sucks in, that means that the dent, that's where it gets its name from, you know, that it's a dent corn. That tells that it's a little overripe once it dents in. Now corn goes through a couple of stages. It has a very hard stage when it's immature. Then it goes into a milk stage, and now it's going into the curing process stage, where the kernels are not full of juice like they once were. They've become more solid on the inside now, and once it gets to this stage, we can go ahead and use this for frying. Now the Danny corn, depending on which color you end up with, now you look at this, this is actually yellow. When it dries, it'll turn all different colors. It's a multicolored corn. But the kernels on a lot of the different corns that's in it will have very long kernels on it. So, and that makes it really good for frying. Now when we get back here, I'm going to go ahead and cut this top off. I know a lot of y'all probably think I'm just dropping this on Miss Wanda's floor, but there's actually a bucket over here. Okay, now that I have the corn up here, I'm going to make sure that there's no more silks on it, because most of them will come off of it. There's a couple little ones still stuck in there, but silk's not going to hurt you. Now what I'm going to do is set this in a bowl, and I'm just going to run my knife right along the edge of that cob. Because what we're doing, this is not cream style. This is old-fashioned southern, what we call fried corn. It's a little difficult when it gets to this stage to make sure you're not technically cutting into the cob, because the corn itself is kind of firm. To get this cut off of here, I'll kind of show you a little bit about what it looks like. And there's a few silks got in it, but that's not going to hurt us. Now Danny corn has a relatively small cob in it. I designed it that way on purpose because the cows actually eat the cob and all whenever they're eating it. This is basically what the cob looks like when we get through with it there. It's just you can see where I cut right down to the edge of the cob on it. And it's a small cob. It ain't much bigger than my finger. And see if you can actually see that it is just almost full kernels. I cut it almost to the cob. You know, and it makes it's not a creamy corn or anything like that. It's got pretty firm. So that's what's going to make this really good for frying, is because of each individual kernel is almost whole in it. Now we're going to go ahead and shuck the rest of these, and we're going to get them put in the bowl, and then we're going to try to get this stuff in a skillet and show you what we're doing with it. Okay guys, what we have here is we have the Danny corn. It has been fried in a skillet.
The casserole is blue potatoes, patty pan squash, onions, peppers, all cooked down. Then I ground beef that was browned, added some salsa and cheese, and then put cheese on top. That's our casserole.
That's the casserole. And then we got, does that look like spaghetti squash?
Spaghetti squash, and I just salted and peppered and added some cheese to it.
Okay, so I gotta test all this?
Yeah, you gotta tell them what the corn and the...
Okay, first off we're gonna do the Danny corn.
Tastes like corn. It was a little past its prime, and I got most of the silks out, but not all.
I think it's really good though. I mean, it's got a real good corn taste.
Mm-hmm. As long as you catch it before it dries.
Mm-hmm.
And this was past the milk stage, but it wasn't dry.
A little crunchy.
But it's good.
Really good. All right, we're gonna try the spaghetti squash with the cheese on it. These are our squash we raised. Okay, first thing. I love spaghetti squash. Secondly, I love cheese. There's only one thing that would have made this better.
What's that?
Smoked cheese.
Oh, I have a little left.
Yeah, that would have made it better. So that is a definite winner.
We got to
The Danny
break out
corn's a winner.
we got to break out the smoker shortly with some
Let's
cheese.
try the casserole. This is our homemade salsa, our potatoes,
Our squash.
and the
Peppers
cow.
and onions.
Oh yeah, peppers, onions, all ours. The only thing there is the cow that we bought to have butchered, right?
Actually, this was before that we used ground beef and pork together.
Okay.
You can taste the pork in it.
I can taste the pork in it, yeah. Oh, it's really good. Wow. The salsa made it.
So guys, casseroles. It can be whatever you have on hand. I just happen to use blue potatoes and what's the other, the white potato, the,
King Baked White.
no, the other one.
Oh, German Butterball.
No. Yukon Gold.
Yukon Gold. I'll get it right now. We had a bunch of them.
We had so many. But Yukon Gold and the blue potatoes, I sliced them up, threw them in some boiling water. I added my patty pan sausage cubed up, my peppers and my onions, and I let it all boil till it was almost done. Then I mixed in with my salsa. I drained it, mixed my salsa, my cheese, my salt, my pepper, all together, and then added the brown ground beef and poured it in a casserole, dumped cheese on top of it, and cooked it about 20 minutes.
Well, am I right that casseroles originated from the Great Depression?
Yes, it's whatever you had on hand. So that's why when I do a casserole, it's whatever I have on hand. I could have thrown fresh tomatoes in today.
We could have.
We have
plenty of fresh tomatoes, yeah.
We have peppers and onions, so I used that because it was here. Whatever meat you have, it doesn't matter whether it's chicken, beef, pork, deer, whatever. It can be ground meat. It can just be like if you had leftover chicken. You can shred it up somewhat, use it. You have leftover pork chops, cut it in little cubes, throw it in there. You've got a roast.
So basically this is a survival meal. I mean, if we just sit and look at it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all off the land. So we followed the guidelines of the Great Depression by making a casserole.
Yeah.
We have fantastic home-raised spaghetti squash, the Danny corn, all this stuff going together. All of our major food groups are in the casserole. We cleaned the refrigerator out, I'm assuming. Yeah.
No, it was fresh stuff.
Oh, is it fresh? Okay.
It was fresh stuff.
All right, so it's all fresh. So
Everything's fresh.
So there we
Except
have
the
it.
cheese
We have it, guys. I mean,
and the meat. The cheese and the meat wasn't fresh. but everything else was fresh off our place. So I just used whatever we have on hand, fresh, and that's the way they did during the Great Depression.
That's called eating in season.
Eating in season. That's my thing.
Eating in season.
Eat what you grow, eat it in season. It saves anything left over that you've canned. You don't have to use your canned goods. You've got to eat in season.
You've got to eat in season. I think it's going to be a winner. I think it's a good meal. This is one of the things we try to show here at Deep South Homestead is living off of the land and surviving off of what you have, eating in season, eating fresh vegetables. These have no chemicals in them whatsoever. They've not been sprayed with anything organic or non-organic. They're just plain straight from the field. The spaghetti squash is cured, so it's from the field just a couple of weeks ago. The corn was pulled yesterday evening. The rest of this stuff is sitting in the floors around here.
The potatoes have been cured for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The peppers and onions, the onions have been cured for 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks, yeah.
The peppers were pulled yesterday.
Yep.
So, you know.
It's not that hard on a farm or a homestead or a farmstead or whatever you have, an urban homestead. It's not that hard to survive and make your own meal. Now this is not a fancy meal, but I would a whole lot rather have this right here than I had a Hot Pocket, a pizza, you know, some chicken McNuggets or a hamburger from Mickey D's, you know, fake meat, all this kind of stuff.
Corn dog.
Corn dog, we heard about corn dogs today. You know, these potato flakes in boxes. Guys, I mean, this stuff is, if it's the best you can do, it's the best you can do, but this is real. There's nothing artificial about this. There's nothing added to this. This is just good down home eating.
Getting cold.
And it's getting cold, ain't it? Okay, guys. Thank you for watching us here at Deep South Homestead. We've got to go eat this before it gets cold, and we have thoroughly enjoyed you being able to get to see that, hey, you can survive off of your homestead by raising your own food. It is doable. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.